What's going on there, everybody? Welcome to NECAthon episode where we're going to be talking about the NECA Godzilla 1962, which hails from the film King Kong vs. Godzilla. Quite honestly and personally, my pick for the best NECA Godzilla figure, but let's take a closer look and see if that holds up by the end of the video, huh? What a gorgeous little froggy-looking lizard over here. I quite like it, but first off, we have yet another breath effect piece from NECA over here, looking less like frozen ginger ale and more so just like, snow, I guess. The detailing is rather nice, the paint is nice and bountiful, and it looks pretty good when applied to the figure. Boom! Pretty frosty. Anyway, paint and detail-wise, we're going to get quite an eyeful here, especially with these dorsal fins. Up until the release of this figure, NECA dorsal fins were okay at best, I'd say. But it's here with King Goji where things really got cranked up to 11, and the quality in NECA's jean pockets definitely started to show more. I can't deny that I'm going to have a little bit of a bias going through this review, and I'll do my best not to let that speak so much, but seriously, the dorsal fins on this guy are absolutely sublime. From the nape of his neck all throughout his back, moving into his tail over here. The dorsal fins do kind of trail off, but they all are fully painted all the way to the tip. Look at that paint! Look at that detail! I can't help but kind of gush over these. They look great. They do. Many intricate little craters and bits of color strewn about. I'd think you'd have to be crazy not to toss this thing some praises there. I mean, come on! And even when the dorsal fins start getting more and more insignificant and just become little stripes on the tail, I'd say this is pretty dang good. As it all just flows so very beautifully. And then we could talk about the toes and claws. The toes on this guy are pretty nice. They have a different color towards the base. Not sure if that was intended or not. But you know what I'm saying? They're toes. They're properly painted and I don't think they look like shit. Same could be said for these Gojillian claws over here. Sharp, fully painted, a little on the strange looking side, especially for the left hand, but for the most part, pretty well done. Aww. Frog Goji from the front, as you can see, is actually looking straight forward, has some piercing yellow eyes with black pupils within them. I think NECA absolutely nailed the likeness of King Goji over here. I've seen some people say that this figure isn't wholly accurate, but every time I look at it, I kind of don't care if it is or isn't. Look at him! Look at him! Look at him! And it really only gets better once you open his mouth and you get a look at them grills. Teeth. Fully painted, individually sculpted. Front, back, left, and right. Right. Everything looks as it should here. But, getting the figure in hand, you can see his gums, his tongue on the inside of the mouth. It's all pretty dang good, and look at this guy. He's just a happy little froggo boy. But turning him on his side, we can get a better look at the inside of his mouth. And the detail in here alone is also just magnificent. I'd argue to a standing point that this guy is chock full of really great detail and some pretty damn good paint. I really just cannot complain about a single... Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, not a complaint. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here at all, but this appears to be a bit of a paint or mold defect. I'm not sure, but yeah, this guy's got some booger snot on his knee over here. It's entirely invisible once you move the leg up. You can't really tell too much, but I have him with his bent knees, and this does kind of stand out a little bit. But I'm not taking points off for that. Screw that. And before I forget to talk about this again, it's not super noticeable, but I do like the presence of some lighter and darker colors on this guy's skin. Base color is probably that sickly looking green, but there are going to be areas of a darker color really patched onto the figure. I actually think it's a little bit more of this color just in areas like these. It's so well done and properly integrated that I often forget that it's even there half the time. But you can see it in mass, like over here near Goji's grundle, or even over here on his thighs. I'm not exactly sure what paint method NECA used, but at least they didn't charge you an extra $30, $25 just for a hyper-specific paint application. Jerk off. Paint and detail-wise, this guy's getting 2 solid stars. I'd be crazy to deny him anything else. And with the addition of this breath effect piece, I gotta give that a solid star too. I know I didn't do that last time, or did I? I don't even remember. If I didn't, solid star for those two guys. If I did, nothing changes. So now let's move on into articulation. As demonstrated before, the mouth can open and close to accommodate for a roaring pose or just to add his little breath effect piece in there. Ball joint in the head so you can look down about that far and back up about that far, which is nice. Full swivium included. Ball joint at the base of the neck over here so you may aid in Godzilla looking pretty dang far down without the help of a torso. Good stuff there, NECA. Appreciate. Bring the head back up, and we've got yet another swivel over here, and it's nice and smooth and isn't a pain in the ass to move. Bars. Alright, my copy, and I'm pretty sure most others, I mean, just looking at how his chest is formed on over here. Yeah, there's no real ab crunch for this guy. There is rotation, but it's impossible. I really can't do too much with it. Like, that's as far as I've ever been willing enough to really turn this guy out, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm probably just going to stop it here, because NECA no longer makes these figures, as we all painfully know. And I'm not trying to break this guy especially, because he's still my favorite, even though articulating him is like articulating a bag of cement. And that scares me. Looking at the arms over here, I mean, they can rotate all the way around like so. They can't really move out too far, which is a bit of a bummer, but we do have a nice bend out and bend in at the elbow, accompanied by a swivel. Nice bend in at the wrist and bend out, mostly a bend out though. You'll also be able to swivel at the wrist, and then you'll get a nice hinge in, hinge out movement at the palms of the hands over here. And now...
No.
Let's just talk about the tail, because the tail's actually got some positives to it. Yes, fully articulated and segmented tail from NECA. I do believe this was the first, or maybe even the second. I'm not sure which came out first, this or KOTM Godzilla, but look at that. We got a nice curve on this tail over here, and it actually manages to hold its pose pretty well too. You can be flaccid on the ground or nice and curved up in the air. You can even bend it all the way down. Well, not all the way down, but down enough. He's not going to be pulling off no Ultima Alien 3 poster hose or anything like that. But still, segmented tail from NECA. No bendy wire, and it's an absolute positive win. And plus, since these are all ball joints, yeah, you can swivel from left to right, all the way around. Very, very nice there, NECA. I superbly do appreciate this. Both back in the day and today. And now we can move on to these friggin' legs. I hate these legs so much. So looking at this guy from afar, you can tell he's a beefy, beefy boy. He is all thick and no, brick, stick, dick. And he's also quite heavy. And these legs are a little bit on the restrictive side. They kind of only move out a little bit like that, and that's more of a rotation than moving out, but it's something. Thankfully, rotating the legs aren't, yep, I'm eating my words now. That's a pain in the butt. And even though it helps the figure look as amazing as it does, it kind of just interferes with trying to do anything crazy with them. As you can see right there, that's what that little mark on the thigh is from. Running into this. This guy is 100% solid, literally. So rotating the legs all the way around is a bit of a pipe dream, and it has been since I've received this figure. But thankfully we get a full rotation at the knee, as well as a pretty good bend. You'll also get a nice little swivel at the ankle over here, with a very tiny-ish pivot at the ankle. And that's it. Now this might be a little controversial, I might be playing favorites here, but I'm still gonna give articulation a solid star. The legs don't move far back enough or fully rotate, but at the same time, articulation-wise, not really going to be using that. And honestly, between the head and the tail, I think this guy has more than enough than he really needs. I do think an ab crunch would have been preferred, though. Or even then, yeah, solid star for articulation. You're not going to get SH Monster Arts levels of articulation out of this guy. That's been NECA since the very beginning. And you know, 25, 30 bucks at release, I think I got my money's worth. I still do. Look at this happy dancing dude. He's happy. Size comparisons. Over the years, I've claimed more than a few NECA figures to be my favorite of the lot, but none quite touch 62 Goji over here. or King Goji. Even with the minor little defect that I have on mine, I still can't lie to myself, I can't lie to all of you. This is easily NECA's best Godzilla figure. Well, in my eyes at least, I see it as NECA's very best. Detail, articulation, not a pain in the ass to move. Plus we get a breath effect piece for, at the time, I think 25 to 30 bucks. This was an absolute win for NECA. Plus, I believe around the same time-ish, SH Monster Arts released their own King Goji figure, and that had its share of issues at release as well. But overall, NECA King Goji over here, an absolute astounding win. And we'll see how far that opinion will go once I am through with NECAthon. That being said, episode 2 of NECAthon is complete. At the time, I didn't have the Bandai Godzilla Collection King Goji. I didn't have much, save for 1, 2, 3, the 3 Marmot and Medicom figures that I have. Alright, let me reiterate that. The 2 Marmot figures I have, and the 1 Medicom figure that I have. So I was happy then, and I'm still pretty happy with it now. Granted, the more I look at this guy, the more I think about how Hiya Toys is probably going to do it better, if they ever get around to the Toho stuff. As I have tried getting a King Goji from SH Monster Arts, but not a replacement for SH Monster Arts, but a good alternative. We'll end it there. I have been ShinRobjira. I do so hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave me a like, drop down a comment, let me know how you feel about this figure, and be sure to check out all my social media, Twitter, Discord, join ShinRobjira Island, please. And maybe even check out my Patreon, where for $1 a month, you get access to videos like this weeks, days, hours, or even months before they come out, because sometimes I'm really good on that stuff. And when next we meet for episode 3 of NECAthon, we are going to be talking about 1964 Goji, and oh boy! If 62 Goji felt like I was articulating a bag of cement, this guy feels like I'm articulating a whole square of cement. A cube.